What's up? How we doing? Welcome on back, man. We're back at it. MIDAS Monday. We got big bar 34. 345 out. ATR is also 34 here on bar 34, which is not the greatest ATR, but I'll take 34 over, about 6. We'll take the mid-30s. We can get some work done in the 30s. If it starts dipping into the 20s, our job gets a bit tougher here. If it dips below 10 or below 20, it starts getting a lot tougher. If it dips below 10, it's like, time to walk away. We have not had the ATR, which means average true range, which is the average range in points of, in this case, since this is a 5-minute NQ, that's Nasdaq futures chart. In this case, that's a 5-minute bar, right? The average range in points of a 5-minute bar, looking at the last 10 5-minute bars. That's what the ATR is. It's that red and white number bottom right of the chart on your screen. So, I want to see that maintain at least 30 here. Would be tremendous, if not back up into the 40s as the session goes on here. That range, by the way, from bar 9 to bar 16. Brutal. That's going to be a death trap for a lot of traders here today. But if you're trading RAM, you didn't have too many issues in there. Because you saw, you're like, this is a wiki sideways single bar trading range. You already saved yourself about 10 grand. Week hasn't even started. All right, 34, 215 out. Let's see what we get. How we doing, guys? Edge, Big Trev, Javaz, my man. Tina, Cheryl, how are we? Superfly, what's up, big dog? Roy, JJ, Sutton, how we doing? How we doing? This is the 5-minute NQ chart. Nasdaq futures, Big Bart. My man, back at it. Man, it's only 11 a.m. Big Bart's up what? About $250,000 here just this morning? He was up all night. All night. Trading commodities during the international sessions. NQ opens up, pulls in another 6 figures from NQ. Big Bart always out here killing it. Roland, how are we? Roger, my man. All right. Here we go. 70 seconds here. We'll get the rollover of bar 34. Honestly, I'd love to see 34. If it could just roll over and fall, close as a nice clean bare body beneath the wick low of 33, I'd short it and I'd happily do so. Trading Chris, how we doing? KC, what's up? Come on, Bears. 25 seconds. I don't think I'm going to get it, am I? Here on bar 34. No, sir. So this is going to roll over. Watching 35. Still interested in 35. Though it starts getting a little more sloppy. My concern here, yeah, especially after that. You know, not a concern, but just what I'm watching here. We've seen a lot of that today, haven't we? Can you see that? No, you can't. Hang on. See this? Ugly. See this? Ugly. See this? Oh, Jesus. Right, so we got to be careful because we know it's coming here again today. It's just been so common all day. Full day's range here. Less than 200 points on the full day's range. ATR still sitting at 32.33. So I am being aware of the possibility of more and the likely probability of more sideways trading ranges. And I don't want to get caught, at least not too many times in a row. It'll happen every once in a while, and I'm okay with that. But I don't want to get caught too many times in a row betting on breakouts, only to look back and say, oh, dummy, it was a big, single bar or just regular sideways range. And I did it 14 times today without making adjustments. So I'm keeping my eye on that. But if I got to take a bet because it's a great setup, you know I will. Question, any advice for a new trader? 100%. Understand what business you're in. And what I mean by that is understand how the math of trading actually produces a profit for you, which is what you're here for, correct? Now, I know that sounds extraordinarily generic probably as a new trader. What I mean, though, is a lot of traders kind of imply that you just show up, you make decisions, and you get so good at predicting the future based on your feel. You're like, man, it really feels like this thing is going to continue to go higher. Or it feels like it's gone too far to the downside. And then you make a decision based off of that, and you make money. And then you go buy the Lamborghini, right? Well, in all actuality, the way you make money as a trader is you have to obtain and then retain what's called a statistical edge, positive expected value, which still comes from decision making. But for me, it's going to come from identifying the context of what the market is doing and then using logical price action based setups and stops to make logical decisions. And then I use that as well as volatility, which is ATR, and chart experience to select. And then also, is it a scalp or an intraday swing or a regular day trade, to select a logical price target. And then I'm extraordinarily disciplined with that price target. I don't pull things early unless there's a bar-by-bar management decision to be made. So what started off as a simple, overgeneralized explanation quickly turned into something that probably confused you. I'd rather have that be the case than have you believe the previous lie that many people present as the truth, because it's easier to get people excited that way, which I think is just goofy, because you're gonna fucking rip their heart out when they realize that that's not working. So that would be my advice. Understand what business you are in. Your job is to be the house. You need to have a positive expected value and then take as many trades as you can without giving that away, which might not be that many trades or might be a good chunk of trades if the market environment calls for it. For example, for me on a huge trend day, I might take 10, 20, 30 plus trades. And I think a lot of you guys, not you guys, but a lot of people who come in on a big trend day, they'll be like, man, what's 10, 20, 30 plus trades? What does that mean? And I think a lot of you guys, not you guys, but a lot of people who come in on a big trend day, they'll be like, man, what's 10, 20, 30 plus trades? What does that mean? And I think a lot of you guys, not you guys, but a lot of people who come in on a big trend day, they'll be like, man, what's What's he doing today? This isn't what he normally... I'm taking advantage of the opportunity, so I'm looser with it. I'm still making logical decisions, but it looks to the untrained eye like I'm looser. Whereas then they come in the next day and it's a big sideways range, and I'm kind of waiting. I'm being really patient. I'm not nearly as off the cuff, seemingly. It's because the context isn't what it, what I would prefer it is, which is a big trend. So as you can see here, I drew that sideways range. Not to be that guy or whatever, but that is what we're getting. So bar 36 here, rolling over from 35. We'll see what 36 does here. It fulfills that sideways trading range. Question, did he get long? Is he longed this? Let me ask you guys a question. Is there something that I'm missing on screen that implies that I'm in a trade right now? It's a genuine question. Am I missing something? To me, when I look at this and I try to think of it from, a viewer's perspective, it's extraordinarily clear that I'm not in a trade, right? Am I missing something? I don't know. Let me know. I gotta make sure it's clear. Bar 36. Swallowing up 35. You hook up flashing lights and a siren for when you take a trade. Yeah, see, I'll spend a week hooking that up. Just for me to take a trade. It'll flash, red. And it'll say, Nico's entering short. And then the chat will say, wait, did he just get long? Oh my God. I'm just messing with you guys. I get it, man. When you're brand new, I get it. It's kind of confusing. I understand. I'm just playing. So we got this sideways range, so I'm being real patient. Real careful. We got about 60 seconds here until bar 36 closes up, rolls over. ATR holding on to the mid to low 30s here. 33, 34 is the average true range. What kind of trades have you guys taken so far today, by the way? I guess what I'm curious about is like, one of you is like, hey, I bought bar 24. risked the wick low of 3, sold it on 31 or whatever, you know. Just curious. Big Bartlett says up 700, just watching now. Cheryl bought MNQ on bar 29-ish. Oh, you caught that move, good. Roger got short on 17. What, on the break of like the wick low bar 12? Is that what you're talking about? You said you got in late, that seems about right. All right, so we got bar 36 trying to close outside that little range. Still inside the wick low of 34, by the way. So now as we roll over into 37, about 30 seconds into this new bar, we'll see if the bulls faded up back into the sideways range. Probability-wise, they likely will. If they don't, and the bears take over and fade down, give me a nice clean bear close, then I have something to think about as far as getting short, depending on the size of the bar. Big news, been scalping all morning, up 1,800 bucks. My man. My man, can you really complain, by the way, about 1,800 bucks in a morning? And I'll tell you what, man, that 1,800, all of a sudden, let's say for somebody being up 1,800 bucks, not for big news, man. For big news, this is like, why even get out of bed for 1,800? That's how news operates. But for the rest of you, let's say 1,800 is a good day for you. I'm telling you something. You're going to wake up one day and look up, and you're going to be up 18,000, and you're going to be feeling less than what you felt when you were up 1,800. It's just how it works. And by the way, that's a good thing. Holy shit, look at this. What just happened? Oh, shit! Who was sitting short? Time to get rid of this. That just got blown out. We just got a headline, didn't we? Goodness, can you believe it? You see that glitch? Oh, something else. All right, if anybody sees a headline, drop it in chat. I'm keeping an eye out as well. I think that dump was laggy across the board for just about everybody. That's crazy. Trump tweet. Rose says it was so laggy I couldn't close. Oh, man. Well, you got the opportunity now. Okay, by the way, low a day is that wick low of bar 3 on the very end of the chart on your screen. That is low a day. So keeping an eye down there. You know, a lot of times I will tell you though, with like little headlines like this, it's, yeah, here we go. Ready? Iran asking for compensation for damage done to them during the last 5-month military conflict. Trump says, I am likewise demanding compensation from them. So, I'll tell you what, this is basically just a big pissin' match. And is that likely to trigger a huge trend? I'd love if it did. That'd be tremendous. We could make a bunch of money. Unlikely to do so, though. So, keeping an eye out now for a trading range inside the big candle, the wick highs and lows of 37. Also keeping an eye out for secondary news, because we know as headlines come out, the you know, the probability of another headline hitting is temporarily higher compared to just any random headline out of nowhere. So keep an eye out for secondary news, secondary headline that does move things. Michael says, I was in shorts, made 200 on 3 MNQs. Nice. All right, new bar here, bar 38. Man, isn't it nuts how 37 comes all the way down, gets within 3 or 4 points of the wick low at 26, and then reverses hard? With the range, now by the way, in a big trend market, can't bet on that, okay? But in a big range market like we are seeing today, which I mean the whole day has basically been some form of trading range, at least after since, you know, bar like 10 and 11 for sure. As this comes in, it's like you get, you know, because all the bulls know that we're looking at range, so they're a little quicker on the button. Algorithms, humans, all of them, to hit it. And then, you know, it just so happens, mostly coincidentally, that strength is now enough to reverse it, and the bear hesitation starts creeping in enough, combined with the bull confidence, to reverse it back up a little bit here, right ahead of the wick low at 26, you know, well ahead of the low a day. So is there a trade there? Not really, honestly. But it's good to understand the where that relationship between the bulls and the bears, you know, how that can kind of make sense. Now, a secondary test here, by the way, if we end up taking out the wick low at 26, I think of it as kind of a separate event. Because now we've had a lot of time to digest this, so we'll see where price goes from here. I'm just hoping for anything but a sideways range inside the entirety of bar 37, including the wicks. All right, 45 seconds out. Oh, by the way, guys, I haven't mentioned this yet. I forgot. So, you know how Apex is currently running the legacy accounts? Which I know a lot of you guys are into the legacy accounts. They're right now with code BIG, B-I-G. They are 90% off. Okay, single day pass. That ends tomorrow night. Okay, August 11th, the night of tomorrow. That's over. And they keep hitting me up saying, we don't know if we're bringing them back. Just let people know. And then, you know, they're hitting me up again like, we don't think we're bringing these back at all. So if you like the legacy accounts, I genuinely think it might be your last chance. Maybe they'll bring them back. I don't know. I don't even think they know at this point. But it sounds like they don't plan on bringing them back, at least not anytime soon. So if you want to hit it, you've got about 1 day to do so. Code BIG on the Apex legacy accounts. And all the rest are 90% off as well. Same code. Okay, 355 out, big bar 39. Daniel says, what's a legacy account? The legacy accounts are the older account styles with the older account style rules at Apex, which I know a lot of people are into. Okay, so the wick low of 3, that's the low of day, right? Now, traditionally, I'd be very much rooting for 39 to close beneath the wick lows of 37 and 26, so I can short it using a stop limit sell order, risk the wick high of 39, and look to stop hunt the low of 3. I gotta tell you, I'm intrigued. But there's a reason I'm not all pumped up about it, and that reason is this whole day, we've had nothing but ranges. Here, 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 here. Okay, and now the potential for a new range kind of inside the entirety of 37. And if there's one thing I know about stop hunts, which I know a lot about stop hunts, but if there's one thing I know about stop hunts, it's that they tend to be less reliably nuts in range environments when compared to more hyper-aggressive environments. Meaning either range day, obviously turning into or attempting to turn into more of a trend day, or a big volatile, more like early day reversal move that looks like it's turning back into, or I guess into, not back into, a trend. This, to me, looks like an aggressive move downside, retest after that Trump tweet, as part of the big range. So you can see here, even as this bar comes in for a close, 5 seconds out, you see this? You see that? 39, immediate insecurity. It's almost like we've seen this before, right? 39, wicks back, bears are insecure, closes inside 26. This is not a coincidence, you guys. All right, so we will see if we do take out the wick low of 3. If we do, while I hope it turns into a huge bear trend because we make a bunch of money, just understand the probability of it doing so, turning into a huge bear trend, is not all that high. Although I wish it was. What I actually am intrigued by here is betting on this whole range. The problem is I know the bears want that wick low of 3 pretty damn bad. I'd be more intrigued on a reversal play after we actually do take out the wick low of 3 and then we get like a more of a reversal look. But I'm not against it here. We'll see. Question, would we get a move back to the upside if we get down to the low of 3? See, the problem is, as much as I wish that was a yes or no question, it's not. It can't be a yes or no question. The question is, what's the probability that we eventually get a move back upside? Now, as far as if the bears stepped in, took out the low of 3, which is low a day, bar number 3, by the way, I think it's highly irresponsible to just buy the break. Because where are you going to put your stop? There's no logical price action based stop because it's now at low a day. There's nothing beneath you. So any stop you use is going to be entirely arbitrary. On that trade, for me, what I would much prefer to do if I were going to bet on the full day's range, because that's the context, I would much prefer that either I take it before the break of 3 and use 3, which is I'm cool with doing. But even better, we take out the low of 3 and then we see like a 39.40. And then I can use the wick low of, let's say bar, 44, 45, that new wick low to manage risk. It gives me a price action based stop. Whereas buying the low a day on the break of low a day, even though it's a range bet, which is a relatively logical thing to do, given the context of the day here so far has been range all day. The problem with that is not logic. The problem is risk management. And I am not a fan of using arbitrary stops. If you can help it, which you almost always can. Now, for me, as far as getting long here, looking for a reversal, betting on the range, I want to be careful getting long too high because what you can see after news like this is, when you get long and you're like, okay, reversal, and then volatility dies and you end up with this and it just it gets all mushy and pisses you off and then takes out the low after like 45 minutes. So for me to get long here for a reversal play, I'd much rather get a deeper entry. It keeps the risk lower. Yeah, sure. Decreases the probability a little bit, because you're now betting on a reversal more in the face of the test of that low a day takeout, which tempts the bears even more. But the last thing I want is to get long in the middle of a big range. and then it just gets mushy and we end up in a trade for 90 minutes that I'm not really all that excited about to begin with. Yeah, you see that? That's part of the problem right there. So, you know, the more hesitation these bears show to the downside as far as actually, you know, getting in the face of the wick low of 3, I'm intrigued by a range bet, a reversal. It's not necessarily a reversal play. It's a bet on the range, which implies reversal to backfill the range. A reversal play, a lot of people would take that as, oh, we're heading up to 30K. That's not at all what I'm talking about. I'm just betting against a sustained breakout. That doesn't mean they can't take out the low of day, which is the wick low of 3. They certainly could, which is why the probability on a trade like this wouldn't be the best. Or reward to risk ends up being pretty good. Now, again, I wouldn't want to take this on bar 39. That's very aggressive. I'd want to take it when we're looking at more of a range argument. It's going to take the, at least in a lot of cases, it's going to take the light out of the bears a little bit. Doesn't imply that it's a perfect trade or it's going to win every time, you know what I mean? But we don't have to win every time. That's the beauty of this business. We just have to win sometimes and retain that statistical edge so that we have profit left over when the dust settles. Media, what's up, brother? Stu, how we doing, my man? As long as I can get my risk a little bit more inside of a full ATR, I'd be cool with it. Just because I know I'm also staring that mushy bear wedge argument in the face. There we go. I can use the wick low of 3. 1750. And just bet on that range. This is sort of a reverse, I don't know what you'd call this. Reverse stop hunt? Nah. Just a bet on the range. Basic context trade. $45 seconds out till the rollover of bar 41. By the way, ATR 36, 37. Yeah, we got 41. Rolling over into 42, ATR 34. This is that trouble zone. Those wick highs, 39 through 42. Gotta push through that guy. To get to my full ATR, which is 34. More like 35 here at this point. We'll see how that ATR develops if it does. Yeah, bear stepping in ahead of those wicks. Yeah, this little zone here is that troublemaker, because where we're at right now is the argument for that little soft bear wedge I was talking about, which is, you know, it's all right. There's always a counter argument. You're never going to find trades that have no counter arguments, because if you did, then there would be no one on the other side for you to enter, right? And the market would just poof, implode, cease to exist. All right, ATR 35. There we go. Bit more of a push here, bulls. Get through the troublemaker. Really not much else in the way here. Just a matter of getting there. Well, market my trading. This is NQ. Nasdaq futures. Big dog. Okay, ATR 35. Just need a hair of a push through the 780s. There's the rollover, by the way. Come on, bulls. ATR now sitting 33. Down a hair on the ATR. Give me a fill, beauty. Full ATR, let the copier get flat. All right, tremendous, keep it pushing. Okay, so by the way, again, just a context trade, nothing fancy. Just a good, logical, contextual RAM trade. Okay, bar 43. 4 minutes out, ATR sitting 33. Coming into that 20 EMA, worth mentioning, not the biggest deal. And by the way, if you haven't yet, I appreciate you hitting like here on YouTube, my man. Or dislike, big dog, whatever you gotta do. Hit a button. Helps out tremendously, appreciate you doing so. Okay, bar 43. Less than 3 minutes here on 43. And a bit of a fade here, while it wouldn't surprise me. We'd then be looking at basically a single bar sideways range. Houston Big Dog, hope to see you become a regular, my man. Okay, so you see this now. Now, as far as a read here, right? Big, full day's range. Potential for this to become a range. Okay, on a smaller time frame, right? And then you have this weird potential for like a big, draw it however you want, you know, bear wedge, which could also become a thing. So, I think right now in this exact moment, it's a little early to bet on any of them, which means I need a hair more development and get a better contextual read here, more data here from the market, from the bulls, from the bears, to determine how I'm going to look at this contextually speaking and which one's going to take over in my mind. As far as the look, right? Whether we end up with this newer single bar sideways range from bar 39 on, or if we have to look at the full day, which would be the case if the bulls end up taking us up through here, especially up through 29,800. What time frame? This is a 5-minute chart. Yes, sir. It's being copy traded across a whole bunch. Big Trev says I'm up 50 points on a 180 point range day. Doesn't feel like it, but it might be my best day Yeah, man. So, I mean, what is that to a T? About 27, 28% of the day's range. You know, I've always said, guys, the best traders will be able to relatively consistently collect 25% of the day's range in points. So if the full day's range is 200 points, a good target for you would be by the end of the day, you made 50 points. Okay, that'll put you in like the top 1% of traders. And you'll make a ton of money. More than you could ever want or need. At least need, I guess. Now, if you want to be like one of the best traders of all time or in the world, like a wizard of scalping, if you could make 100% of the... Now, I'm not saying you bottom tick to top tick. I'm saying across many different trades, right? So if the day's range is 300 points, if by the end of the day, on your average trading day, you look at how many points you made in profit and you're like, I made the full day's range, 300 points, and you do that pretty consistently, that is incredibly hard to do, but it would make you one of the best traders in the world, if not of all time. That's crazy. But I'll tell you something, 25% would already put you in that top tier category. So that is a huge goal. And even that is quite difficult to do consistently. So Big Trev, tremendous work. So you see the bulls trying to take us up into the sort of middle of the whole day's range, but also that 20 EMA worth mentioning, sure. All right, here we go. Here's the bullish test of 29,800 on NQ. I've got a poll for you guys. You ready? This is a good one. This is a good one. Make sure you vote in this one. All right, polls out. Make sure you vote here on YouTube. What do we see first here on NQ, Nasdaq futures? 30K or 29.5? And then in the chat, after you vote, I want to hear it. Do we see, well, first of all, say what your vote was, 30K or 29.5. And then do we see it today? Yes or no? Okay, 30K. 30K probably not today. 30K not today. 29.5 tomorrow. Leon is the first yes. He says we're seeing 29.5 today. I gotta tell you, we're really not that, if you look at the day's range, sure, probability-wise, it's not the highest probability in the world. But we're not far away from either one of them. I mean, 200 points. We've seen NQ move 200, 300 points like it's nothing in an afternoon. And I gotta tell you, for me, I don't care which one we see, but if we see one of them today, that likely means, man, I caught some trades along the way, so I'm excited about it. Let's hope we see at least one of them today. Big News says 29.5 tomorrow or maybe overnight. Yeah, you see early this morning, we got real close to 30K and then faded hard into the open. All right, I'm just going to get a refill here on coffee. Give me 2 minutes. Somebody make a phone call. I'm going to come back. This thing's going to be at, what do you guys think, 30,100? Maybe 29,300? 2 minutes. Don't go anywhere. All right. Welcome back. Okay, so... By the way, I looked at the coffee and I was like, gotta break out the big guns here. Okay, so 46, bar 46. I want to share an experience thing with you guys. When I look at this, let me zoom out a little bit. Contextually speaking, I know we have a big sideways range, but there's also an argument for this, okay? So, when I look at this bar, it was just 20 seconds ago up here, right? Shorting that is a really, really tough trade. While it, first of all, it's hard to justify that it makes logical sense because you're not even really getting up into the, like, deep into the upper third quite yet of that wedge, really? And it's hard to manage risk because really the only thing you can do is use the wick high of 46 unless you want to use the wick high of 36. In which case I'd say, all right, it's more of a day trade, maybe even intraday swing. Probably more like a day trade. But using, you know, getting short on 46 when it's up here and then using the wick high, you're terrified. You're risking 7 points. And let me tell you something. If you're somebody who is terrified and every trade you take, you're looking to make your stop as tight as possible because you're horrified of losing money, I promise you, you're trading too big. And then you get stopped out over and over and over again, as you should, statistically speaking, right? Because the probability is very high that you're going to get stopped out if you risk 7 to make 70. That's just the math. But you don't want to risk more than 7 because you're trading, you know, 4 minis on a 50K funded account. You see what I'm saying? You need to size down and put the stop that the trade needs. Not the one that you want to use because you're terrified of losing money and your ego can't handle sizing down. I promise you guys, you can make lots of money trading 2 to 3 micros per account and scaling horizontally. I am not new to this. You can make lots of money. But you got to scale it horizontally. You know, you're not going to get rich off of trading one funded account with 2 micros. But if you're talking 10, 15, 20 plus, now you start scaling to different prop firms. Now you're trading Apex and Take Profit. Then you throw in Lucid, etc. It's like, okay, now you're really scaling it horizontally hard. You're able to put the trade on with the stop that's necessary because you're no longer scared. Telling you guys, it's the way to go. Some of you are like, how does he know what I'm doing? Yeah, it's almost like I've been there. Question, micros mean an NQ, right? Well, NQ is the minis. MNQ is the micros. Okay, so now as we start getting a little reversal attempt here, I'm watching 46, 47, and we'll see how 47 closes up. Now again, I'm not looking to be real antsy to short this. Like if 47 closed right here, I'm not getting antsy to short it. Why? Because A, we could have a single bar sideways trading range. B, we're right dead center of the whole day's trading range. Okay, really the only supporting argument of that would be the bear wedge. Flat bottom down here, big, you know, bear wedge up top. Really the whole day, but the problem there is you're not even really pressing the upper third of it that hard. Two minutes. 2 minutes and we'll get bar 47 rolling over into 48. News says you called it. We've been inside the range of 37 since it hit. Yeah, I just noticed. It's common. Happens all the time. Guys, pick a trading methodology. I don't care if you pick RAM. This is just what works for me. Pick a trading methodology, whichever one makes logical sense in your brain. Okay? Stick to it. Make repeatable, consistent decisions. No day is going to be exactly like another, but they tend to rhyme, don't they? And don't break it, because then you're going to lose not only your consistent decision making, you're going to make your data filthy. Now you don't know what to look at when you look back at your data, or just even your results, which is part of your data. Even if you take one trade that's completely out of left field that has nothing at all to do with your methodology, you've now ruined your data set. And do that for a period of time. Not to mention, you start breaking your own rules. There is an element to this where you start losing self-respect. I'm serious, that's a thing. You start losing self-respect, you start thinking subconsciously, you're like, I can't even stick to a methodology, how the hell am I ever supposed to make money? And then you start doing more dumb things because you're grasping at straws, and now your data set is disgustingly dirty, and you can't trust anything you're looking at, and you've wasted 3 months of your life. All right, bar 48, open it up. Getting closer and closer to big 50. Big bar 50 has some lore around here. We'll see if it ends up being big bar 50 here today. So far in from 45, 46, 47, we've got a little tight single bar sideways trade range. Right in the middle of the full days range. Market isn't sure which way to go. If the market's confused, as I always say, why the hell would I not be? So I wait for more data here. Oh shit, ATR is down to 27 now. Okay, now 48 closes beneath the wick low of 46, and then rolls over, and bar 49 closes even lower as another clean bear body. Then for me, it's incredibly obvious what I do. I put on a stop limit sell, see if I can get a fill. It's second nature. At some point, how many of you, by the way, in the chat are feeling this now versus not feeling this? Where when you look at a chart, what you are supposed to do is more or less relatively second nature. It just, you look at it, you're like, oh, if this happens, I do this, and it's not even a second thought. How many of you are getting there? Versus, and by the way, most people are not going to be there. Most people will never get there. How many of you are feeling like that is never going to happen? Because I promise you it will come, but it's not going to if you keep making random decisions, as a lot of you probably are. All right, halfway through 48, 2.5 minutes out. Nate says getting there, but that 5% when I don't follow the plan, oh boy, yes sir. Yes sir, you'll blow out the other 95%. It's not even worth doing, I promise you, breaking your plan. News says it's glorious once you get out of your own way, 100%. 100%. A lot of you guys, you're probably taking good trades. The problem is you don't even know you're taking good trades because you're just piling garbage on top of it. And then your result is you lose money. And a lot of it is probably because you're bored, by the way. Okay, minute 15 out here. We'll get 48 rolling over. Yeah, you see that? Bull sucking it right back in. I don't want to see this become a thing, by the way. ATR, volatility, average range of a 5-minute bar, right? ATR stands for average true range. Sitting below 30, 20, what is that, 28.9? If this becomes a thing, that's going to suck down below 25, and we don't want to see that. Just because, you know, we're day traders, right? The market needs to move for us to make money. Rex says, broke too many rules trying to build my first pot of money, thinking it would be easier to stick to rules once I had a bag of cash to work with. Never made shit until I just stuck to the rules. Yeah, you see. So, you know, Rector, just to call you out, in hindsight, you were kind of just gambling to try to build your trading capital, hoping that, like, well, if I have enough money, then it will feel worthwhile to stick to my rules. So let me just kind of try to get more money and then I'll fix it. I promise you, it doesn't work. It's not going to work. And by the way, it's indistinguishable in that first period of time from straight gambling. Like, it's no different what you did, all due respect, but like, you know what you did. It's no different from going to the casino with your trading capital that you want more of and putting it all on black and saying, if this hits, I'm going to head back and put it in my trading account and then I'll follow all the rules. Do you see the flaw in that logic? It's problematic. And a lot of you guys do this. It's crazy. Question, what Apex account size? I want to do 52 minis. Why 52? I don't get it. That's not going to be a one account size thing. Rex says that's literally what I was doing. Hit this one trade, then fix everything. Never worked. Yeah. All right, 49. We're about halfway through Big Bar 49 here. And then we got Big Bar 50. See how 48 sucked back up? Now 49's trying to bounce back in. This is a big trading range. It's not even a big trading range, it's a tight trading range. So if we could get this guy to roll over, give me a nice clean setup with room to spare, I'd be thrilled. But until then, I gotta look at this as a sideways trading range. Come on, you bears. Roll it over. Let's head down to low a day. Get this thing moving. ATR down here. Sitting at 27. All right. Bar 49, close it up. 45 seconds. We'll get big bar 50 opening up. See if it can fulfill its lore here today. What do you guys think? About 200 points downside? Would be nice, wouldn't it? So right now, again, default assessment is sideways range right here from 45 onward, bar 45 onward. That means and until that is no longer the case, I'm banging my head against the wall, range, until it's clearly no longer the case. All right, big bar 50, open it up. Okay, 3 minutes. All right, now bar 50 here. Bar 48, wicked back upside before the close. 49, getting nothing done. 50, attempting to break out here. Taking out the wick low of 48, just barely, now hesitating. So what I'm watching on 50 is to see if it is capable of closing nice and clean beneath the wick low of 48. Now, of course, even if it does, that would be what I call for myself the early trade. Because there's still, quite the risk of this just fading right back into this sideways trade range that we saw, 45 through 49. ATR 27, range on bar 50 sitting at about 1 ATR. Minute 35 out. Is the ATR per bar? Yeah, so that number is the range of each. Okay, it's the average true range, which takes the average range in points of the last 10 bars on any chart. So in this case, it's the last 10 5-minute bars, and spits out that number, which is currently 27. Okay, 25 seconds out here from the close up of Big Bar 50. Ten seconds out. Copy trader engaged. Watching the close here. Come on, Bears. Not too much wick now. Well, I said I'll give it 20 seconds. And if the Bears want to give me a fill within 20 seconds, I'm cool with it. If not, I do not want to participate. See that hesitation? 8 seconds. I do not want to participate. Pull the order. Next bar. All right, Bull's trying to fade us back to that sideways range. Getting rejected here. Let's see what the Bears have in store. 220 out, by the way. Okay. 40 seconds out. I'm watching big bar 51. See if it can give me a nice clean bear close beneath the wick low of bar 50. There you go. Range on this bar, just barely even coming into a full ATR. Okay, 12 seconds out, copy trader engaged. Stop limit sell goes out. Place him, roll over, see if the bears want to take it on 52. Do this 25 total seconds. 5 more seconds. What's up, bears? You want it? They don't want it, not even at the last second. All right, pull it. Bunch of baby bears at the wheel. Next bar, 52. Jay, what's up, my man? How we doing? How's our poll going, by the way? All right, what do we see first on NQ? The poll in the chat. 30,000 or 29,500. And we are at dead center 50-50. Are you kidding me? If you haven't voted in our poll yet, make sure you get your vote in. I want to see if we can get some bias going out of you guys. Now, probabilities-wise, speaking in terms of probability, being that we're basically splitting the difference between those two options, the fact that we're at just about 50-50 makes a whole bunch of logical sense, doesn't it? But if you haven't voted yet, vote. All right, 240 out until the close of bar 52. Come on, Bears. You can see there are a bunch of sissies. Come on, Bears, go! 2 minutes. Who's in a position right now, by the way? How are you sitting? This is the part where nobody wants to say. All right, bar 52. 50 seconds out. Come on, Bears. Cheryl short, Big E short. Bartlett short. Nobody wants to say that they're long, huh? I know, I'm looking at you, my man. I know one of you is sitting long. I know about 10 of you are sitting long. Oh, we got somebody with the guts to say it out loud. Attaboy. All right, 10 seconds. Copy trader engaged. Stop limit sell goes out. Come on, Bears. There you go, beauty. Place it. Beautiful. Get a fill, bring that guy down, and place him with more accuracy. There we go. That's tight. Risk on that, just 13 points. ATR is a full 23. So that is a tight bar 52, very tight risk, small signal bar. Now we just see if those bears can get the job done here. Okay, now I know that we've seen range all day, and we're coming into those lows, so let's see what these bears got. One R is 13 points, by the way. Tight. Okay, minute 55 out here until the close up bar 53. Oh wait, volatility getting real low. ATR now sitting 24. All right, we got 53. Rolling over here into bar 54. Bulls trying to pop us. Let's see what they got. Now, volatility really dying off here. ATR currently sitting 23. Yeah, I don't like ATR dipping below 20, especially, on a 5-minute chart. Starts making our job tougher. All right, let's see what these bulls got here. All right, flat. Small loser after our nicer trade earlier. ATR really falling off a cliff. Okay, so now, you see that? Yes, you can. I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking, okay, we've got a big issue here because we have a giant sideways trading range full day, but then you have this argument for a bear wedge, which could mush volatility until it's down into the teens, and then we barely take out the wick low of 3, fade back up, and go sideways into the close. That is like worst case scenario volatility-wise, because that would kill volatility, ATR, from where it currently is, 23 if not 24, into the teens. Maybe even the low teens. which is certainly not ideal. Okay, we got 54 rolling over into bar 55. ATR now in the lower 20s, sitting 22. All right, so 55 here. What do you guys think? Are we going to head down and take out the little, well, I guess we got to go wick low by wick low because volatility's getting so low. 53, 39. And then that ultimate bear target, the low a day, the wick low of 3, which realistically is less than 40 points away. Telling you, volatility's low, man. It's low. Hey, by the way, guys, reminder here. Today is, well, I'm sorry, actually tomorrow is, we've got about 36 hours, actually less than 35 hours for the legacy accounts at Apex. Code BIG, B-I-G, baby. I know a lot of you guys are into the legacy accounts, and I think it's your last chance. It doesn't sound like they're going to be bringing them back. At least not anytime soon. So that legacy account deal at Apex, 90% off single day pass, those go away, meaning the legacy accounts in entirety go away tomorrow night. Then of course all the other accounts are also 90% off single day pass, same code, code BIG. All right, minute 18 out. Bar 55. Tim says, does your strat, the methodology, RAM he means, work on the other time frames? Does when I trade it. Does when I trade it. I change absolutely nothing other than my expectation of how the data is going to look when I look back at it. Meaning, the faster time frame you go, the less expected value you should expect to have per trade, and the more trades you should expect to have. The higher time frame you go, the more expected value you should expect to have on any average trade, and the less overall trades you should expect. Okay, but this is a big misconception. I like the 5 minute because it's a good balance for me. It's a great balance and I can trade it all day without any fatigue, really. A lot of you guys are like, man, I can trade the 1 minute chart all day. Yeah, me too, dude. But like after 3 hours, is your decision making really the same as it was when you sat down? Probably not. Probably not. Right? So, you know, give me a 15 minute, give me a 5 minute, give me a 10 minute, give me a 2 minute, give me a 1 minute for a little while. I'll trade RAM the same way. It's just a different way to look at the same data. I think people overthink time frames a little too much. Okay, so bar 52 closes right into a sideways trading range, a single bar sideways trading range. 53, 54, 55 into 56. All right, hey, 2 minutes! Don't go anywhere. All right. What's up? 344 out. Till the close up a big bar 57. Coming into the 20 EMA, sure, worth mentioning. Trying to creep outside of this single bar sideways range. This here, like it or not, is a very tough spot to put a position on. And I think most professionals would agree, because we're right in the middle of two arguments. Yeah, ATR sitting 22. It's staying real tight. What's our poll at? Let's end this thing. Hey, if you haven't voted in our poll, make sure you do so. All right, I'm going to give you guys another 15 seconds, then I'll end this thing. Okay, what do we see first on NQ? 52% said 29,500. 48% said 30K. Which makes sense considering we're right about at 29,750. Now, you see all this hesitation? Again, low a day is the wick low of bar 3. We have all this hesitation down here near low a day. Which tells me we're in what? The same as the day's been all day. A big range-bound market. It's just a question of the range shifting around. By the way, ATR down to 21.5. Getting lower, volatility is. Okay, so we've got another brutal range here, 53 through 57. So I will tell you, remember that long trade I took on, I want to say, what was it, 41? I got long on one of these bars, bet on the range, use the wick low of 3, low a day to manage risk. I'm interested in another trade of that nature. However, ATR, meaning volatility since then, has cut, I want to say, almost in half. At least close to it. Which means everything would have to be a little bit tighter for me to be interested in that. Man, volatility really tightened it down here. To get within 1 ATR of that low a day, I would need the bears here to pull this into really about 29,740. That's sort of the earliest. For me to simply take a bet on the range, sort of a bet against a big trend breaking out. Okay, so the average range here of a 5-minute bar is now at 20 points. So it's getting really slow. I'll tell you guys what, this is one of the slowest days we've had in, honestly, at least the slowest, New York sessions at this time. It's been months. This is one of the slowest days we've had in months as far as market movement, right? Yeah, there's those bulls trying to bounce it right back into this tiny little sideways range. Which is the look that I'm looking at, but I need a little more bearish confidence so I can bet against it. Well, I gotta tell you, it's a miracle that we're even holding on to a 20 plus average range of a 5-minute bar here, because it feels like we're moving about 6 points per bar, doesn't it? Bulls, bears, anybody. Let's go, big dog. Step on in. All right, 59 rolling over here into big bar 60. Let's see what 60's got. Okay, so we got our sideways range here. Low a day is the wick low bar 3 where my cursor is at. Okay, you have all this hesitation here, 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 here. Again, I'd like to bet on the range, which is also a bet against really a bear trend breaking out. We're just not really getting enough movement here. ATR is 20. Been close to a somewhat of a reasonable entry that I'd be willing to take here a couple of times. No cigar yet. All right, bar 60 closing up. Good riddance, bar 60. 61 opening. See what 61's got here. Oh man, bulls fading it right back to 750. Goodness. Is anybody sitting in a trade right now? How many of you are in a trade right now pulling your hair out because it's not moving? You know we've all been there. You know we've all been there. Well, there's that bullish move back upside that I was looking for. Bears never gave me an entry on. It's all right. At least we're getting a little bit of volatility going here. Now, you know, if we were in much more of a bear trend look, by the way, I'd be willing to short bar 61 near its wick high and use the wick high of 57 to manage risk. My issue with doing that here in this scenario is that this is such a range-bound market that I'm actually looking for sort of the opposite of a stop hunt here. Right? I mean, the same trade that I took on bar 41, I think, was the entry to the long side. But now that ATR is down, meaning the average range of a 5-minute bar of volatility, right, is down. We're down to 20 on that value. It's a lot tighter than it was on 41. All right, guys, I'm out of here, man. Range driven, I'm out. I will see you guys tomorrow. Hey, stay disciplined. Hopefully this thing will break out. We'll get some opportunities here before the New York close. But until then, head against the wall. Range. All right, guys, have a good one. See you tomorrow.